are you as a parent with your kids? I mean, being, bolstered
Amazing.
with all this information.
I'm the best. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I know your kids don't get to go to birthday parties, but still. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning into another episode. We're going to start this week with another one of my videos that I found on my phone. It's just, a beautiful, sunny, warm day. The kids are playing outside in the water. And I've got the SPF 50, sprayed them all over, sprayed their scalp, just making sure they are totally protected from the sun. I forgot to spray Rusty's feet. So later that day, getting them in their jammies, getting them all cleaned up. And I noticed Rusty's feet are absolutely fried. I mean, the tops of his feet were just red like a lobster. And of course, the first thing I do is go and Google, did I just give my kid skin cancer? Because I forgot to spray sunscreen on the top of his feet. And this is why I am so excited to welcome my guest today, Emily Oster. She is an economics professor at Brown University, and she has written a data-driven book to answer these burning questions. It's called Expecting Better, which became a New York Times bestseller. She followed it up with more books, some for toddler-aged kids, some to answer questions about school-aged kids. And she also has 2 kids of her own. And a little fun fact, her husband is also an economics professor. So who better to talk about data with? So I cannot wait to talk to my guest today. Please welcome Emily Oster. First of all, thank you so much for hanging out with us today.
I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
This is so great. I mean, I was that typical first-time mom where I would just Google absolutely everything. But I love your method of, all right, here's information based on data. Why do you think that gives you such a better answer than just, whoever's posting on these message boards we're Googling?
It helps you understand your decisions. That was why I got into this, because I got pregnant and I got told a lot of rules, and it felt very difficult to navigate, like, which of these things should I listen to and which should I not, because no one ever explained why. And I think that the data is a way into an explanation of, why might you want to do this thing or not do this.
Did you ever think it would get contentious or have so many opinions on the data that you're just trying to provide?
I probably under-anticipated how much blowback or how much contentiousness there would be about a lot of this, because I really see a lot of what I do as, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not telling you whether you should breastfeed your kid or not. Like, that's not really any of my business. What I want to tell you is, here's what the evidence says about the benefits. Here's what the evidence doesn't say about the benefits, and let you make the choice. And I think when you frame it like that, it's like, who could be mad? And yet many people are. And so that is always a little surprising to me, because I think, well, can't we just talk about, do you disagree with my read of the data? Like, do you have a different paper? Like, let's engage on this detailed point of econometrics. And people don't want to engage on detailed econometrics as much as I want to.
One thing that I thought was so interesting, just reading an article, was just the whole topic of having a drink while you're pregnant. And you made such a good point when you said, well, if you're told you can't do anything, that's impossible to do. So if you're told you can't smoke, you can't drink, you can't eat lunch meat, you can't do this, you can't do that, one of those things is most likely going to happen. We don't want it to be smoking, because we know that smoking is bad. Could it be drinking? If you have a glass of wine, it could be drinking. And now you're vilified for saying you should drink while you're pregnant. I mean, because that's not what you're saying.
It's not what I'm saying. Yeah, and it isn't what I said in the books. I sort of tried to walk through, like, what, you're being told not to do this. And in fact, I think what's really tricky there is about 40% of OBs in the US tell their patients it's okay to have the occasional drink. And so then people are faced with, like, but I thought it was no. I thought it was like, this is where really you need to understand why. And walking through the data and explaining to people, here's what we see about occasional light drinking in pregnancy. We don't see the kind of negative impacts that we see on heavy drinking. And so, reasonable people may decide to have an occasional drink during pregnancy, given that evidence, and many people will decide not to. And both of those choices are reasonable choices. But then people do come back and say, well, you're saying everybody has to drink, or why are
It's like, I'm not saying that.
Definitely not what I'm saying. And I think, the internet is such a funny and in some ways problematic place in terms of how does something that's, I feel like, is so nuanced and sort of centered then get turned into these extremes.
I remember when I was pregnant choosing not to drink. I see someone out at an event having a drink, also pregnant. There's that thought in your head where it's like, well, I wouldn't do that, but to each his own, right? Like, so be it. The problem with the internet is that everybody then can say every little thought on their mind.
And because I think that attitude you describe, which is like to each his own, is not very prevalent in pregnancy and parenting, because I think we all want our choices to be so right that they're like right for everyone else. So another way for you to engage with that interaction is to be like, well, I'm obviously the better person, the better parent here. My choice is right, and that person's making the wrong choice. And like, maybe I'll go up and speak to her about it. Of course, you wouldn't do that in person, but on the internet, you would have no problem. Not you,
exactly.
One would have no problem being, commenting. This person's a bad parent.
I also think part of the thing is I'm almost secretly mad at myself because I'm like, man, I'm being such a stickler with the drinking. She's just having a small glass of wine and having a good time. I wish I could do that. So instead of actually doing that, I'm just going to get mad at the situation instead. So there's
100%.
There's all of 100%. That. Do you find that you're drawn to finding data and, trying to answer questions about the age your kids are now and care less about, the pregnancy stuff and the breastfeeding stuff, like all the stuff that happened before?
I think that there's a perspective that comes from having an older kid that allows one to like dial down some of the anxiety that I remember from pregnancy. But now when I look back on it, it's like, I can't believe I was so worried about that. The problem with older kids, as a person who is obsessed with data, is that there is much less data, and the data is much less easy to learn from because kids differ quite a lot. And I find that this stage of parenting is very rewarding and it's very fun, but it's also much harder and far less formulaic. It's like way more thinking, honestly, about how to not mess up than it did when they were little.
It's an interesting point you make, because I think back to my first son when I was breastfeeding and struggling at breastfeeding. I just didn't produce enough. Googling all the time, should I keep trying this? What happens to his mental state if I don't breastfeed him? What should I do? So I struggled for a full year, pumping all the time just to try to increase production and all that kind of stuff. Then the second child, their same issue, couldn't provide, had to supplement, which I felt so guilty about. And then with the third kid, I'm like, I made it to 8 months and I hit 8 months. I'm like, I can't do it anymore. And at this point, my oldest is 5. I'm like, I don't really see a difference between the 5-year-old and the 3-year-old. Like, I don't know what breastfeeding did. I don't know what formula did, but I look back now and I'm like, why did I kill myself?
Totally. I have this mental image with my daughter where I also had a lot of supply issues and she wouldn't latch of walking around the hallway at some hotel when she must have been 6 weeks old. I don't know why we were at this wedding, and walking around and bouncing, because the only way she would latch on is if you just bounce and bounce and bounce. When I look back on that, I just want to be like, hey, stop it. Don't you're ruining it. This is not helping. You're not going to look back in 14 years and be like, boy, I'm glad she got those 2 ounces of breast milk after I bounced her for 9 hours in the hallway at the Marriott.
She's got terrible gas, but
right, exactly. So I really, I think that there are those moments that I think many of us look back on and say, boy, I wish I had given myself a break.
Yeah.
I wish I had given myself a break.
One thing that got a lot of feedback was this birthday parties on Sunday mornings that you don't want to bring your kids to.
But if the birthday party is Sunday morning, which is a time that we like to go hiking or do other stuff together, it's just no.
Can I just start by saying I couldn't agree more? The last thing I want to do on a Sunday morning is go to a birthday party to a kid that my son is maybe half friends with. I mean, if it's a dear friend of his and he genuinely wants to go
to the birthday party,
I will gladly take you to the birthday party whenever it is. But if it's so-and-so from your class that I have to remind you who that person even is, right, because you're 3, I'm sorry, but I'm just going to say no. And I don't really think the parent of the kid's party will even care that I'm there.
Yes. I felt so just to be there are so much to unpack about birthday party gate. And I felt, what I had said was actually in the service of a much broader point, which is that I think that we probably don't spend enough time thinking about how we want to spend our time on the weekends when we have kids. And often people tell me, oh, I wake up Saturday morning, I can't believe how many activities, like, I don't want to do any of these activities. Why are we doing this? Sort of trying to be clear to people like, hey, if you want to avoid that, you need to kind of be deliberate up front and think about what are the guidelines that we're going to have. And for our family, Sunday mornings are intended as family time. And just like sort of stepping back to like what the internet's like, really this statement was there's a 2.5 hour period on Sunday mornings in which I might not have my child attend a birthday party. That's it. That's
God
like,
forbid.
God forbid. And people were like the sort of moment that I realized how like how much feedback people get about their parenting is somebody wrote a newspaper column about how like this was like a terrible thing. And it ends with this like amazing set of quotes that's like, there is a loneliness epidemic.
Oh my goodness.
Children grow up, spouses age, everyone dies. And so you should go to the birthday party. And it's like now preserving the 2.5 hours on Sunday mornings is the cause of the loneliness epidemic, and everyone's going to die. And it's like, listen, guys, can we right size but it sort of, I realized, of course, I don't care what people, I'm like, have enough security about this and not care too much. But I think part of what I realized is this is a lot of the feedback people are getting either on the internet or even from people in their circles is sort of this feeling of like, even something as milquetoast as like, I might say no to a birthday party is sort of like, well, why don't you love the community? Your kids are going to hate you and everyone dies. And it's like, we're putting so much pressure on people. A few weeks after this, my son did go to a birthday party. It was on a Saturday afternoon. And when we went, he was like, do you want to take a picture of you like dropping me at the birthday party so people know that like you let people go to birthday parties? I was like, I don't want to do that, but thank you for asking.
You do want to clarify, you're not anti-birthday party.
I'm not anti-birthday party. I will be delighted for my kid to attend your child's birthday party, but probably not on Sunday morning.
All right. Makes me feel a little bit better. Have you changed the way you parent after you discover something in your research?
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, I think that when my kids were little, and I wrote crib sheet, we changed the way we disciplined to some extent. I spent a bunch of time thinking about evidence-based discipline for the book, and my older child didn't need any discipline. You just sort of told her not to.
Classic older
it's like
child.
The difference between like first, like I was like, don't touch the stove, and she was like, okay, I'll never touch the stove ever again. And my son, like, you're like, don't touch the stove, and he was like, touch the stove. So I was writing that book like right at a point in which we were like, okay, we got to try something different because this just like explaining like you're a 45-year-old isn't working as well as it was. And so that was a place where we sort of adopted this kind of pretty standard, like 1, 2, 3 magic timeout kind of approach as a result of having done a bunch of research.
How does it work with screen time? I know I tend not to give my kids screen time. I think I have the original version of the iPad, so they don't even know how good it could be.
That barely works. That barely works. I think the easiest way to think about screen time is to think about what it's substituting for rather than thinking of it as good or bad. You might say, we have in our household worked out a way that screen time works for us.
Right.
There's an angle on trying to change the dynamic, which is much less about, screens are bad and much more about there's another thing we'd rather be doing. So let's make sure we don't spend all our time on the phones so we can also, go swimming with grandpa or whatever is the activity you want.
That's a good way to look at it. Is there a topic that comes up most often that people reach out to you?
Sleep, nutrition, and screens are people's main. Those are like for like little kid stuff. I mean, with pregnancy, it's much more varied because people's experiences there, I think, are more varied. But with little kids, it's really like they don't sleep. They don't poop in the potty. That's like a big one. I'm worried about things about screens, and they won't eat anything.
If you could just tell parents, like, just wait a couple years and this, like, all these worries will go away. Like, they will sleep, they will eat better.
I think it's not that helpful to be like, wait for 2 years. Like, I don't need to know that like when they're 20, it will be fixed. Like, I need you to help me fix it. And I think then, sometimes there are things you can help fix. I think the other piece is just people almost always want some acknowledgement that what they're experiencing is normal. So around picky eating, like there's this moment for many parents around like 18 months to 2 where all of a sudden your kid just stops eating everything.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh my gosh, my kid isn't eating anymore. Like, what did I do wrong? And like, why, you know, and just acknowledging like that's extremely common. It's just like, my kid is just like all the other kids. And, you know, here are some strategies that I can have to try to like make it better.
Is there evidence that kids like need to eat all those peas on their plate and they're going to be so much more healthy going forward? Or
no, and you shouldn't actually. The one sort of piece of advice about like picky eating is that actually it's not a good idea to go for like, you know, if you eat all the peas, you can get ice cream because that generates like a negative association with peas. There is better data around like what's called like an autonomy supportive approach. Like you might like peas, they're like small Brussels sprouts. Not that they like Brussels sprouts,
Yeah,
but you know, if they're
that's really
were they
selling
to
it.
like were they to like Brussels sprouts. But no, most people sort of worry a lot that their kids are like vitamin deficient, but you need to eat a very, very limited diet to be vitamin deficient. You know, if your kid eats one ketchup packet every day, they have enough vitamin C to not have scurvy. So, you know, most people are doing fine on vitamins. And, you know, it's a good idea to keep trying to encourage, you know, foods with more fiber and take advantage of that moment that they want to eat like 3 pints of, you know, raspberries. That's
although
expensive.
Raspberries are so expensive. When I see
know,
them,
I was going to say, like, maybe
chowing
the
down
point
on
where they want to eat
raspberries.
like a bunch of apples or something. It's like raspberries, maybe hold it back.
When my
a bit.
kids are on a raspberry kick, I'm like, dang it, this is going to
I know
cost
those
me so
berries
much money.
and they go bad very whatever. Okay, so it's a good idea to continue to encourage vegetables, but it's also worth saying like your kid is not going to get scurvy if they are a picky vegetable eater.
You mentioned you get a lot of sleep questions. I don't know how it happened, and my kids were okay sleepers, but the idea of can we have a sleepover tonight has turned into like once a week they're asking like all of them to pile into my bed and we read books together and we have a nice little like sleepover. Like how important is it to make sure kids sleep in their own bed versus that like snuggle that they want?
This is 100% up to whether it is something that works for you. I think some people will say, you know, I mean, my friend wrote to me the other day and was like, I sleep every night in the bed with my 6-year-old. She's split up from her husband. She's like, when I have her, we sleep together in the bed every night. Is that like, I love it. It's incredibly important to me. Is it okay? Absolutely. Like that's something you like. It works for you. You guys are getting enough sleep. Perfect.
How are you as a parent with your kids? I mean, being, you know, bolstered
Amazing.
with all this information.
I'm the best. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I know your kids don't get to go to birthday parties, but still.
Right.
Because I feel like you have, I mean, it seems like you have the answers for everything just because you have the data for so many different topics. I mean, how does that come into play within your own house?
This is not very helpful. You know, your children are not responsive to being told that the mom's a parenting expert. You know, look, I mean, I think a lot about my parenting, and I think the places where I think I do well is like my husband and I have thought a lot about how to do things together and how to like craft a life that we are really happy with the structure of it and with how things work. And then there are places where I think I could do better. You know, perhaps the most salient of which is like I spend an awful lot of time explaining to people how important consistency is, which it really is. Like when you think about discipline or routine or whatever, like kids really respond to like a consistent set of boundaries. And that's, you know, the cornerstone of kind of any discipline, your behavior routine is to say like consistently, you know what to expect every single time. If you say it's like 5 minutes of television, you hold the line at the 5 minutes of television. And this is both very important, very evidence-based, and also very difficult. And it is the thing in my parenting that I have the hardest time with. I have I have a very hard time. Like my husband's he's much better at like this stuff. And I'm sort of like, meh.
I mean, that's fascinating. The fact that you know what the data says you should do, but you still choose not to do it. I mean, that says a lot about parenting.
Totally.
I mean, I think back when my friend was trying to get her kids out of her room, and she was up all night, and she was, every time I talked to her, she was so tired because she was up all night trying to do this. And I'm like, why don't you just let them come into your bed? And she's like, I don't want to. I don't want them in my bed. And
It's an investment.
They're so cute and they're so snuggly. And I mean, my
I don't think you are in a position to enforce this change. That's what I'm getting from this conversation.
Yes. Well,
your kids are staying in your bed.
Especially because my youngest, he has learned to manipulate me, and he comes in and I hear his little pitter patter, and I'm like, oh, here we go. And the first thing he says is, I love you, mommy. And I was like, oh, buddy. He's like, good night. And he like pretends like he's walking away, but he knows like he just said exactly what I want to get him into my bed. I'm also a sucker, but
one of my kids my younger kid will sometimes like wake me up for a hug in the middle of the night. And it's like, it will sort of happen for a while and then it will stop. And I know I know I could shut it down, but it's like so nice. He wants a hug,
Right.
It's okay.
Again, because like,
he
how long
want
is it
that forever.
Last?
It's not going to happen forever.
Would you say at times you could be, I can be a pushover of a mom, just because I love when they give me love, and just like, I'll just melt onto the floor and let them just be all over me. So
I am sometimes a pushover. My husband, if he were here, he would say it's more than sometimes. I mean, I hold the line some of the time, but I am the more easily manipulable parent. That is for sure.
When you try to find some space for yourself, try to find time for yourself, what do you do?
So I really like to run. This is like my main hobby. And I gotten much better at saying like, that's important to me and I will prioritize it. Like, I do not have to run 20 miles. Nothing bad will happen if I don't run 20 miles, except like I will perform worse in the marathon than I want. And that's but like, I care about that. And to sort of say like, I'm going to prioritize this. And for whatever reason, that activity, I have sort of been able to say like, this is important enough to me that I'm willing to, sacrifice some family time, or just tell you like, I'm not going to be like, you need to get yourself to school, a thing which my children are entirely capable of doing, but would prefer not to do. And just like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be here because I am going to be running. And, and then that, for me, it has been one of my kids will be like, but like, one time he told me, he was like, you love running more than you love me, which is like such a, child. And I was like, that's not true in the aggregate, but tomorrow morning it's more important to me. And like, that's like, they know how to like pull on you. But for me, that is something where I've been willing to find the time.
We put out a call to Today viewers for some questions. So I just want to read this one question to you. What's one thing you wish parents would stop focusing on, and where should they put their energy instead to raise kind, confident, and courageous children?
I think there's far too much focus on very small things. And, whether that's, rotating the toys, or, making sure that, some of it's about stuff, like, do you have the right stuff? Most of which doesn't matter at all. I think people don't hear enough that they should prioritize their relationships. And that's not a thing that is about what you're doing to your kid, but it is in fact quite important for like how happy your family is, and like what you are modeling for them in the long term. And I do think people could hear a little bit more, like spending some time on your relationship, even when your kids are little, is actually an investment in them and in your family that we are probably missing.
And, for people watching who are divorced or separated, what's the best way to model still that relationship for kids?
Yeah, I think so we know from the data on divorce that, the relationship that you maintain with your ex-spouse is in some ways you want to prioritize the same things, which is like not showing conflict, working together on, having a consistent set of expectations for your kids. It's many of the same things that we would prioritize in marriage, is kind of not having the kids be exposed to the conflict and making sure that they know what you expect, which can be particularly difficult with two different households.
Right. So you mentioned to not focus so much on the small things, but what are some examples of the bigger things that you should put more of your focus into?
So one of the things that gets said a lot is that, the things that happen to kids in the first 3 years are really important, and that the first 3 years are really important. And that's true. And when we say that out of sort of from research, what we mean, or what researchers mean there, is that it's really important for kids to have enough to eat, a safe place to sleep, someone who is like loving and paying attention to them. And if I was going to add like one thing on top of that, I would say reading to your kids is one of the few kind of evidence-based developmental interventions that matters.
So your kids are a little older than mine. What is a piece of advice you would give to me? Something that I shouldn't stress over right now or shouldn't worry about right now when it comes to having those younger kids?
How often they bathe. A lot of kids don't like to bathe. I mean, this is a thing people worry. My kid doesn't like a bath. They're dirty. It's a terrible experience. Eventually, they'll hit puberty, and it will be important for them to bathe because they smell. They don't really need to take a bath that often, and it's maybe not the hill you want to die on.
I'm so happy to hear you say that, because I have a neighbor who every day at the end of the day, they're like, okay, we're going to go take a shower. And I'm like, I wasn't planning on giving my kids a shower today or yesterday or tomorrow. Like, I just don't think bathing is that important.
Agreed. Yeah, great. It's just not that important, and don't worry about it.
Awesome. That just took such a load off. So thank you.
And I will clarify, my children bathe themselves every day now because they are older.
Yes.
But they did not when they were little.
Yes, that's so good to know. And it takes a load off of me. So thank you for that. Yeah. How are you as a mom to a sick child? I find that I'm a terrible mom when it comes. I don't care that much. Not
Me
like
neither.
If there was something really wrong, I would, I go into mom mode, but I'm not very sympathetic when my kids are sick.
No, I am not sympathetic. I am not I am more sympathetic than my mother, whose view was like, take a shower, eat something, and then maybe we'll discuss whether you have to go to school. I'd be like, my fever's 103. I'd be like, well, try the shower option. It's like, I'm like a little more sympathetic. We do follow the school rules about fever, but I'm not like the smushy.
Yeah.
I'm not the smushy sick parent.
My mom would say to me, she's like, well, you can stay home, but I'm not taking care of you. I'm like,
yes.
Okay.
It's a guy that's like, well, you stay home by yourself. It's like, well, I guess I'll go to school.
They've started saying they have a bellyache because they know, they'll either I'll give them a hug or they don't have to finish their dinner, but this has just been the running thing where it's like they walk into my room, my belly hurts, my belly. And I don't even give it a second thought. I'm like, you're fine. Go to bed, close your eyes, like breathe a few times, and I'm sure you'll fall asleep. Like, I don't know how to be more sympathetic when I just feel like they're faking it half the time.
Right. Totally. Stomach aches are like a classic faker.
A fast,
faker
yeah.
move.
You can't prove
Classic
it.
faker move.
You
yeah,
can't
exactly.
prove
I don't
one
know.
way or
How do
another.
you know?
It's like, you might, I don't know. Do you want to go sit
I like the idea of just breathing deeply. That is a piece of advice I give frequently. People are like, I can't fall asleep. I'm like, your body knows when you need to fall asleep. Just breathe. Just breathe in and out.
I even last night I said, I'll do one with you. I'm like, okay, ready? In. Okay, go to bed. This has been such an eye-opening conversation. I mean, just so real too. I feel like I could just chit chat with you. But thank you so much. This has been so awesome just to chat with you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, that's going to do it for this episode. Thanks so much for watching. I'm so curious and want to hear from you. What do you think of Emily's answers? And do you have any questions that you want some data-driven answers to? I think my biggest takeaway from this episode is to not sweat the small stuff. As I grow with my kids and as they get older, I think back and man, there was so much I was just concerned about, so much I Googled, so much I searched, so much, what is the best this? What is the best that? What is the best bottle? Should I use plastic bottles? Should I use glass bottles? Just so many questions. And I look back and I'm like, who cares? Did it really matter? I don't think so. So let's just be kind to each other and figure this all out together. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We are going to drop a new episode every week. And you can always message me at Dylan Dreyer NBC, and be sure to follow at Today Parents for more content. Bye-bye.
Hey, thanks for watching. And don't forget, you can catch the Today Show every morning on NBC or take Today when you're on the go. Just follow the Today podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.